It's 7 p.m. and I call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A roll call.
Commissioner Shu,
Yes, I'm here.
Vice Chair Gopal,
Here.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Stanek,
Here.
and Chair Tambe is absent.
Thank you. So let's go. The first agenda item is the approval of minutes, and it's for the regular meeting of September 5th, 2019. Let me know if any of the commissioner have any comments or revisions.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 5th, 2019, if there are no corrections.
Okay, I second it.
Okay, if it is all in favor? It's not working.
No?
Try again. You got it?
She's probably abstaining, right? Yeah.
Got it. Finally, there are nice technical glitches, but we can make it. Thank you. So it's passed, and then there is another minutes also we need to approve, which is the regular meeting on October 3rd, 2019. The same thing is that if there are any comments, if not, yeah, somebody can.
I move that we approve the minutes from October 3rd.
No one can second it?
I'll second.
Okay, let's vote. All in favor. Let's see the technical. This time it works. No, it's flashing. You can see that. It's a fun one. Hopefully it works. But we know that it's...
Yeah, I'm abstaining, so.
There you go. Now it up.
Okay, one abstain. And,
Anyway.
okay, one abstain, three approved.
No, it's
Three
there.
approved.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
It's got it now. Okay, thank you. While we are getting on to the oral communications, again, I request if you have any comments to make it, not in the things which are on the agenda, please. It would be great if you could submit a blue card. And also for the agenda items, you can submit the blue card, but we'll be calling it after the presentation of that agendized item. On the written communications, Whitney, do we have any written communications? Yeah, so but we don't typically present or anything onto it, right? We don't present or we don't. Okay, great, thank you. I'm just learning. Okay, let's move on to old business. We have the first item is the 2019 Blackberry Farm season update from staff, please.
Hi there, nice to see everybody again. My name is Molly James and I am the recreation coordinator out at Blackberry Farm. I've been out there for about 10 years. This was actually our 10-year anniversary of the reopening of Blackberry Farm. We opened 4th of July 2009, so this 4th of July was a big day for us. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of information. You have most of it in your packet. I'm going to highlight a few things and then I'm happy to answer questions at the end. So just as a reminder, back when we opened in 2009, the percentage of Cupertino residents who were using the facility was only about 10% from the information that we had. It has at that point been our goal moving forward to increase that percentage. And for the last couple years, we've been right around 40% residents and 60% non-residents. It seems to be hanging pretty steady right in that percentage range. This year we were at 42% residents and 58% non-residents. We had a total of 253 picnic site rentals over the course of our 100-day operation, and about 20,000 drop-in swimmers who came and used the pool during that time frame also. So this year, we've added a couple things in terms of our Learn to Swim program, and Jeff in our next presentation is going to talk more specifically about Learn to Swim. But at Blackberry Farm specifically, because the environment is so quiet and conducive for, it's sort of a non-intimidating environment. It's really great for classes like adult swim lessons and adaptive needs swim lessons. We can keep the classes really small. It's in a very quiet setting, and it's really helpful for those types of classes. So this year we taught 3 different sessions of adult semi-private lessons, and a semi-private lesson has up to 3 people in it. And so total we had 7 people enrolled. We had a couple that came for all 3 sessions, and they absolutely loved it. We also taught parent-taught lessons, and we had a total of 18 kids that were enrolled in that. It was the most we've had of any year that we've offered it. And then finally, for the first time this year, we offered private adaptive needs lessons. This is one of the things I was the most proud of this summer, something that we've been trying to get off the ground. And we had two participants this year. There's actually, your attachment A is a letter from one of the moms of one of the little girls that we had, and they really enjoyed the program. And so our hope is that we can continue to grow it moving forward. We think it's a really valuable thing to be offering to the community. Moving on to our other big program that we had this year that was new was we have park rangers in the Stevens Creek corridor. They began working with us, or they were city employees as of 2016. Before that, we contracted out that service. So when
Sorry
we
to
brought
interrupt you, just a second. Is the data is there on the presentation? I think you're giving a lot of data, but I'm just want to see that is it in the presentation for the people to consume as well.
Most of it is. The numbers that I gave for enrollment were not. That was just
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
happy to provide that, but it was just sort of just so you know what our. I don't want you to think that we're. Huh?
It's in the staff report, but not on the presentation. Okay, I just
okay,
wanted to
sorry.
make sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I was
Because people
confused
are
what you were
looking at it,
asking.
and I just want to make sure that it is
No.
there or not. Okay, thank you.
No, we don't have too much. The actual slide presentation is mostly photos.
Awesome. Okay, please proceed.
So we have our park ranger program. We began in 2016, and I would say the rangers are one of the crowd favorites out in the corridor. They're there every single day except for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and New Year's Eve. And they patrol the trail. They really work on educating the patrons out there about everything that the Stevens Creek corridor has to offer. And this year we were really excited because we finally got to a point where we felt like we could begin offering ranger-led events and programs. And so we called it Join a Ranger. We've had a total of 7 events planned. They started last spring, and then we've continued them on through this fall. These are events that are planned and then led by the rangers. There's all different types. They're listed in your staff report in there, the ones that we have. Currently, they're free of charge. They're on a drop-in basis. You can email me to reserve your spot. But they are getting so popular that I think moving forward, we're going to need to have people register for them through the online registration system. So this Saturday, November 9th, we have our most popular event, and that's our night hike and flashlight tour. It's scheduled for this Saturday between 5 and 6:30 p.m. The event is completely full, and we have a wait list of 30, so if that's any indication of how popular it was. Here's actually a couple photos in the slideshow of our Join a Ranger. The one on the right is of our Ranger George doing his pollinator class, and then the one on the left is, other way around, is from our night hike last spring, and those are millipedes that glow when you shine a black light on them. All right, so along with our ranger events, we also had our major special events that we offer out in the corridor. We started with 4th of July. There's no photos of that, but it was our typical drop-in event. People can come, they can swim for free. There's food trucks, and this year we had a steel drum band as a little something extra special to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. We had our first corridor stroll, which was on August the 2nd. This was an event where we encouraged people to stroll the corridor, going from Blackberry Farms to McClellan Ranch, and then enjoying various activities along the way. The blacksmith shop was open, and they were doing demos. We had the 4-H beekeepers out there. As you strolled towards Blackberry Farm, we had the same steel drum band that was back. We had face painting, some ranger-led activities. What else and dog training I think we had out there, a couple other things like that. And so it was a super well received event. I think we had about 400 people, but really hard to tell because people are walking through. So it was really hard to get a solid count on how many, but we think it was about 400. And it's something we plan to continue to do in the future. And then on October 5th, we had our 3rd annual Pooch Plunge, which is one of my most favorite events. We invite all the neighborhood Pooches to come and use the pools after we're closed for the season. We had about 50 dogs this year, and we raised money for the Best Friends Animal Society. And it was great. So we have, you can see on the photos, we've got some dogs who were very excited to get in, and others that needed a little bit of coaxing. And then finally, a few weeks ago, we had our largest event, which is Wildlife and Harvest Day. And this is a partnership with the Santa Clara Valley Audubon Society. The event features live animal shows, various educational opportunities. The Rolling Hills 4-H does a petting zoo. We have got games, crafts, a pumpkin patch, live music. And this year, our senior center lent us their inflatable archery game, and it was a huge hit. So that basically rounded out our season at Blackberry Farm. Just a couple of notes, things that we've talked about year after year. Overflow parking. The neighbors are typically very concerned about visitors from Blackberry Farm parking in the neighborhood. This year we only had one regular day of overflow parking. It was a day in August, and then the Wildlife and Harvest Festival we did overflow. That day we secure parking at Monte Vista High School. We go through a permit process to do that. So we had a place to send them for those days. We didn't even overflow on the 4th of July this year, which was a big deal for us. So the neighborhood was minimally impacted. And then the other thing just to note is, year after year we sort of struggle with buses coming down into the parking lot. They're supposed to use the bus drop-off area that's on Stevens Creek Boulevard. They get turn-by-turn directions, and regardless of all of that information, there's usually a handful of bus drivers that still come down into the parking lot. And so this year we had a total of 6 buses that came down. So that's pretty much it for Blackberry Farm.
Thank you. I think definitely I love the jumping, the dogs jumping onto the pool. That seems to be really good. And the second one, trying to get in. Mine might be like that. So thank you. For the commissioners, if you have any clarification questions on this one, on the update.
I just have one question. For the Nature Hike and Flashlight Tour, since your wait list is as big as your participation list, I'm sure it doesn't work this year, but are you looking at doing a second event, next year, expanding it so that we can satisfy that demand?
Yeah, absolutely. So next year I think we'll offer 2 in the springtime. Depends on light, you can't really do them. We won't be able to do them again till, maybe February, March, something like that. But we'll try and offer 2. It just depends on the rangers' availability. They are pretty limited. And because, unfortunately, they are part-time jobs, like these are fairly, higher level jobs, but they're part-time. They mostly all have second jobs or they go to school. And so it's hard to figure out times that work for all 4 of them to be offering these events.
I have a couple of questions and then a comment. So these tours that the rangers do they stay within the Blackberry Farm area? Do they go into the McClellan Ranch area as well and into Stocklemire, or are they kind of concentrated in that Blackberry area?
It depends on the event. So some of them are mostly McClellan, some of them are mostly Blackberry, and then others they walk in between. So there's that great nature path that goes out in McClellan Ranch that goes down around by the creek. So some of them focus on that area. We have a restoration village that the rangers have built at Blackberry. So one of our classes last spring was just about the restoration village, so it was right there. So the meeting point is typically at the Blackberry Farm windmill, and then we walk to wherever the actual class location is.
Okay, so my comment would be, I know at one time the Parks and Rec worked with the Historical Society to do some historical walks and tours. I know that that's difficult for the Historical Society because they're all volunteers, but it might be nice to have some history incorporated into some of those walks, because that area is a microcosm of the history that's happened in Cupertino from the Native Americans to present day. So anyway, just a suggestion. It
And
would-
Ryan,
might
one
kind
of our
interesting.
rangers, covers a lot of that. So
Oh,
he
good.
covers a lot of, especially the Native American history. He does classes on edible plants in the corridor, and a lot of it focuses on the Native Americans.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Any question?
I have two questions. One is regarding the dogs swimming, swimming in the pool, and I just have question. And when there are so many dogs swim together because they don't like little kids, they don't wear a diaper. Was there any accident about?
No, there was no accidents in the pool, and we choose to do it at the very end of the season so
Yeah, I
that
know
the
that.
pools get completely cleaned out before humans use them the next spring. So that's why we choose that date every year to do the event. It's always the Saturday after we close for the season.
Okay. And for the wildlife, you just said some petting zoo activity to provide wildlife for kids to take a look and learn. I just wonder, is it only happen in October or in summer?
No,
you still
it's-
have chance to.
It's this one event that we do. We actually, so the Audubon Society has been doing this event for years and years. And then we started doing, the Recreation Department started doing a separate event in October that was more sort of good old fashioned recreation with music and crafts and games and things like that. And then we decided to combine the events together so it was more of a minimal impact to the neighborhood. So now we have a combination event, and it's just that one. It's the third Saturday of October. It takes a lot of work on Audubon's part. They work with a lot of different organizations to bring people together. They do a big cat show. They always have a bald eagle out there. There's a couple other cool things. They do bird box building. So there's a lot of different pieces on their end that have to be strung together.
Yeah, I just think it seems a lot of fun. I just wonder if in summer there could be another chance to have it.
No, just the one time right now. In the future, maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Good. I have two questions. One is that again, the 25 on wait list, I had the same question like the other commissioner, night hike and flashlight cheer. Is it limited to 35 because of people assisting it, or that's all the path can take it?
You know, when you're doing a walk like that, you don't want too many people between the person who's leading it and then the very end. You get people who will end up trailing behind. And so we try to cap it at a specific number. We will for sure have people who drop in who aren't on the wait list, and we can usually accommodate them. But we just try to make sure that everybody is getting attention from the rangers, and that especially at night, something like that, we don't want people to sort of be wandering off. So we need to help keep them in a group.
Great, thank you. The other question is that you mentioned about the bus drivers and the buses coming into the parking lot. So is there any notification given to them, or when you say that this?
Yes, so I send all groups who do a reservation. Part of the reservation process is they let us know if they're bringing buses, and if they say yes to that question, then I send them turn-by-turn directions from their location to the drop-off point.
I see. Okay, thank
So-
you.
And usually it'll be like a group who has 3 buses, and 2 buses will go to the drop-off point, and the third will just
third
put
will
it
come.
into their GPS, and they come down.
I
So
see.
that's usually the disconnect.
Okay, thank you. There's no clarification questions.
I
I'll
had
keep
one
it for
more
open. Yeah, go ahead,
comment.
sorry. Yeah.
Just on the Pooch Plunge, I was there. It was wonderful, as always, and the dogs are just having a blast. My dog's one that won't go near the pool, but she has so much fun running around with the others.
He might
And
push you inside if possible. Yeah.
no, so, but we do have a lifeguard on the day, and this year they actually were employed. One of the early dogs was so anxious to get in, I believe they weren't able to get the leash off before they went in the pool, and so they got a little tangled up, and the lifeguard came to the rescue.
Wow.
And so it was all good, just a lot of excitement, and I just think it's a great event. People are so excited to do that, and the dogs have a great time. So great job on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know we also included in the comments, so any other discussions also we can move on if you have any other comments or anything. No. So I do have one comment on it. Maybe I was just waiting for it. It'll be great if you get a video of those things, and then if you could post it, we will just want to watch it. That'll be awesome. The photo is good.
You got it.
I can
Next
tell
year you
you,
got
my
it.
friend has so much video of her
Please.
own dog splashing in the pool every
yeah.
time.
Yeah, I want to put it on my TV, in a big TV, and I want to tell my dog, look at it. you can jump in, right? Please, that's what I wanted to do. So it'll be great if you could just do it. Because sometimes she stares at the TV, and I wanted to see, can I use this as a lesson?
Sure.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Really appreciate it. It's great. Then we can move on to the item number 4. Subject is 2019 Summer Aquatics Learn to Swim program update.
Since I didn't have a chance to introduce Molly, I will introduce our next speaker. This is Jeff Ordway, Recreation Coordinator, and he tonight is going to share with you information about our Learn to Swim program. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Christine. Hello, hello, commissioners. All right. I'm here to give you an update on our Summer Aquatics Learn to Swim program. This is actually my first summer in charge of this program. Karen Levy, one of our other coordinators, has previously overseen it. She is still here. Nothing's wrong. But we did have some shuffling of assignments to give recreation coordinators an area to grow in some programs that they haven't had a lot of experience in. So I have taken on aquatics and our summer swim lessons moving forward. Just to give you a little brief summary, you do have your staff report in front of you, but our program this summer took place at the pool at Monte Vista High School for 7 weeks during the summer. There were 4 total sessions. There were 3 sessions that were 2 weeks and 1 session that was 1 week. And that was based on the availability of the pool from what the high school needed. Classes ran Tuesday through Friday, and we used Mondays to do staff training and development with our swim instructor/lifeguards. And that staff training and development was done in collaboration with the lifeguards at Blackberry Farm. The bulk of our swim lessons were group lessons. There were 555 residents that participated in a group lesson, and then 74 non-residents that participated in a group swim lesson. And these are anywhere from our really young preschoolers, age 3, up to our teenagers in level 6, who are just pretty much the last level prepping for swim team and more competitive activities. We also offered private lessons at the pool. We had 57 participants take part in a private lesson. All of them were residents. We did not have any non-resident participation in our private lessons. In addition to group swim lessons, because the pool at Monte Vista High School is slightly larger than the pool at Cupertino High School, which we've used in the past, there's a few additional lanes. We were able to offer some adult lap swim during between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. for residents to come and participate in just some recreational lap swim activities for fitness and well-being. And we had just about 150 of those participants, or 150 lap swim sessions. Residents could buy a one-time drop-in pass, a 10-pass punch card, or a season pass. We also offered discounted season passes for members of the Cupertino Senior Center and members of the Cupertino Sports Center. By far the most popular option that we sold was the 10-pass punch card, and the bulk of our sales were through that. This summer, we did have a few challenges that we were working through. One of them was staffing. We were struggling to get enough staff to meet the demand of lessons that we did desire to offer to the public. Our goal was to offer lessons from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we were able to offer those lessons. We were able to make staffing work for that, but we did not have as many staff teaching as we desired to. Since we offered every single level at every single time slot, that left essentially one instructor for every level instead of multiple instructors for every level. And then just to make some things work based on the makeup of each class is 30 minutes. We had a few combo classes, like a few level 1 and level 2 combo classes and level 5, 6 combo classes. In addition to that, availability of facilities is always been a challenge with us. We are great to partner with the Fremont Union High School District, but their need for their own program space keeps growing and growing every year. Part of the reason we moved to Monte Vista High School was we were losing even more time at Cupertino High School based on what they needed to use their pool for their own programs was. So we did move to Monte Vista, which worked out really well. It allowed us to collaborate with the staff and lifeguards at Blackberry Farm. And because of our staffing shortages that we did have with our lifeguard, our swim instructor and lifeguards, we were able to supplement some of our on-deck pool lifeguards that watch the pool during lessons with the staff at Blackberry. So that was really key to us being able to offer the amount of lessons that we had was by working with their staff. And I got to say a big thanks to Molly and her pool managers for really going the extra mile to help make this program work this summer. It was a great collaboration between our two different staff. As we're looking forward to the future and what we are going to offer next summer, we're aware that we'll probably continue to have staffing issues. It is not just a Cupertino issue, it is a regional issue in terms of hiring staff. Many high schoolers and teenagers are really looking for internships and other job opportunities during the summer with tech companies. And so we're finding that less and less of our target market for looking for staff is not interested in the program. Those staff that we find they're very passionate about aquatics and swimming, and so they end up making great lifeguards and great instructors. Also, along with that, as I mentioned earlier, Fremont Union High School District is needing to utilize more and more of their facilities, even during the summertime. And they also have a lot of capital improvement projects on their facilities. So they aren't even able to let us know what availability they will have next summer until February or March, which makes planning for the summer very difficult. So myself, along with Molly and our supervisor, Genique Overman, we've put our heads together to try and figure out what we're going to do for the summer. And we've looked at the pools at Blackberry Farm, since they are our main aquatics facility the city owns, and we've looked at some of our off-peak times in the morning and evenings, and we've looked at the lessons we could offer there, and we are planning to offer swim lessons at the pool at Blackberry Farm, both group and private lessons, Tuesday through Friday, and then we'll also have some weekend lessons for our parent-taught participants, where parents and parents with their little ones can do some water exploration together. We should be able to offer the same amount of volume that we would at one of the pools at the high school, so we won't be losing any volume, providing we're able to get enough staff. The benefit to this move is also we will now have a bigger volume of staff between the lifeguards at Blackberry Farm and our lifeguard swim instructors that teach. Beforehand, because of the nature of the programs, it was difficult to share staff at the same time. We were able to make it work and share a little bit of staff, but by being at the same facility, it should allow for a lot more sharing and overlap of the previous two staffs that we've had. It also will allow some more flexibility for our staff that do teach lessons. Beforehand, we've required a pretty long commitment of that 7 weeks, in addition to their week of getting their lifeguard certification during the springtime. So this will allow them to commit to some 2-week blocks and then maybe have 1 2-week block off during the summer, so they can either take a summer class or go on a family vacation. So we think that will help us improve our staffing levels. Also, it will definitely help us save some money. The cost of running the pool is around $30,000, and so by doing it at our own facility, we will be saving that expenditure. And it will help us increase the utilization of the pool at Blackberry Farm by better using those off-peak times that were just allocated for rec swim. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about our Learn to Swim program.
Great, thank you, Jeff. I think looking at a lot of things, it's have a lot of data. I do have a few questions, but I'll let my commissioners to start with any questions, clarification questions they might have.
So I have one. So will you be substituting the lessons for the recreational swim, or are you doing it before those hours used to? So are we extending the day, or are we substituting?
Excellent question. We will be doing them in the morning, beginning around 8 a.m. and ending around 10:30, which rec swim has previously started at 10 a.m., but it's very light in that very first half hour. So so there will be a slight loss of rec swim, and then we'll be starting again in the evening. I believe 5 or 6? 6 o'clock, and going for 2 hours in the evening. That will maybe shift a little based on daylight hours, especially towards the end of the summer. Also when the pool wasn't being utilized as well. So we're taking just a very tiny bit away from rec swim, but it was the rec swim that wasn't fully utilized.
And the classes that'll be taught first thing in the morning when it's nice to sort of have the quiet for the neighborhood. Not that the classes are allowed anyway, we don't use whistles or anything like that. But we're gonna try and do the adaptive needs classes first thing in the morning, so there would probably be 1 or 2 kids in the pool for that first half hour of offering classes. So it'll be still really quiet and calm out there.
So this probably means you will not have adult lap swim then, because there's no ability to do that at Blackberry Farm.
That's correct. We currently don't have availability, and or really the right setup at the pool at Blackberry, it's not deep enough to do flip turns in one end of it, so it's not really conducive to lap swim. But the trade-off between the $30,000 we're going to be saving and the better utilization outweighed being able to offer it again.
And adults are still welcome to come to Blackberry. We have a handful of diehards that will show up, and they come and they swim just sort of the width of the pool back and forth. You know, obviously anybody's more than welcome to come and do that.
And talking about the staff shortage, I remember for the summer program, when our city holds some swim camp in summer, there's a lot of high school volunteers. I just wonder for this program, is it possible to get such high school kids who are experienced in swimming?
We do have a lot of, the bulk of our staff are high school students that do work for us. We do also have some junior swim instructors that volunteer for us. They only have to commit to a 2-week time frame to do it, but the junior swim instructors do not have to have their lifeguard certification, where our paid swim instructors do have to have their lifeguard certification. And it's a week commitment to get your lifeguard certification in addition to the week of in-service training that we have. So it's 2 weeks of training that we have. We also find that as kids get older, most of our swim instructors are 15 or 16. As they get a little older, that's when the desire to move on to like an internship or some other program kicks in.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a couple of quick questions. So one, today, this time it was, I think I'm just trying to calculate, around 686 participants. How is it like compared to the last year?
It is down. There were roughly between 900 and 1,000 last summer, and that was simply due to the fact that we weren't able to offer the volume we wanted because of our staffing that we had.
Oh, so we restricted, okay, maybe I think I'll get into the,
Yeah, we did have demand for more. We just did not have the instructors to be able to offer to meet that demand to a quality program. Safety is our number one priority, and I was not going to put any kids in the water if it wasn't going to be a safe environment for them.
Got it, thank you. One other question is that, maybe it's related to the staff shortage, so which you already knew that it is going to be a staff shortage, that's why you limited to this amount?
We, unfortunately, this year, we had a lot of staff that we did interview that got on payroll, but then a different opportunity popped up for them, and
I
they
see.
withdrew. So our number, a month before the program, between a month before the program and the week of in-service training, our staff numbers dropped by 40%.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of the adjustments we had to make were kind of last minute on the fly.
Wow. Okay, so I do have some comments, but any other questions, Commissioner, you have? If not, I think we'll open for any other comments or discussions. Do you want to have any other points? But I do want to say that one. So it's up really, like if it is 1,000, I'm trying to find out if it is going to be I see that your next one is if you use a BlackBerry farm by saving $30,000. That's great. At the same time, you feel that we can get into approximately 1,000 participants. We can accommodate.
Correct. Yeah, it's.
But how are we going to have I hope we will have the same problem of the staffing. What is the other incentive or anything we plan to bring it on?
We'll be working. One thing that we'll be able to do is offer some more flexibility to our staff instead of having to commit to the entire 7 weeks straight.
I see.
We're only going to have them commit to a 2-week block of time. So we're hoping they'll commit to, and we're going to request they commit to at least 2-week blocks, so a total of 4 weeks of teaching, which should allow some more flexibility, as I said, for those summer classes and vacations, which were some of the reasons why staff dropped out. Like for example, one of the staff that I lost, his family decided they were going to Japan for 5 weeks, and he was no longer going to be able to teach for us. So we think that will help. We think and just the fact that we are kind of combining staffs so there will be a lot more overlap, and we'll gain some economies of scale by combining staff.
Okay. Yeah, I think the reason is that if it is 40% drop off, and I would like to understand how do we motivate them and attract them so that they don't go to those other offers or others available. I'm trying to, because there are 1,000 participants, if you say there are so many citizens really wanted to get in, but we are not able to offer, we have to attack the problem of how do we attract those instructors back. That's the reason I was asking this question.
It's the hard part with the staff these days is that a lot of them don't need the money. So they're looking for opportunities that will help build a resume and not necessarily pay the bills.
Oh, yeah.
I had a kid this year who I sent 3 checks to at the end of the season because he didn't bother to cash them for close to $2,000. So they just don't need the money. So it's really hard, and it's a totally different thing than we've ever dealt with before.
Okay, so hopefully I would love to hear the retrospective once you find out, as you said, one is a vacation, I understand. Similarly, what other things we can do other than monetary? That's great. And if you don't want to, if they're not cashing the check, I would like to get the check. No, I'm just kidding.
One big motivation we know since we're dealing with teenagers is food. They really like food. One thing that I did this summer is every Friday I drove to Costco and got 5 pizzas for my staff, and they just devoured it. So the more we feed them, the more motivated they are.
Okay, so why don't we make a suggestion like, okay, not now, but let's give boba. Every time you come, you get one boba in the morning, and then that will make them to come. That
is something we've been toying around with boba and other food things. So that's definitely something we're working on.
Thank you, and I really appreciate it. And I know it's a...
And I'm just wondering, so maybe we can hold some thank you dinner in
we
this
do
community hall.
we had
And
a very
they
every summer we do a staff appreciation with dinner, lots more food, and we played human-sized hungry hippos with our staff, which they really enjoyed.
And I remember for the summer volunteers, they also got some certificate, and the mayor will sign it. I'm not sure if they like something like that. And some gift from
that's what they
city.
do for the summer volunteer program, and I think that it's just sort of because they're volunteering their time, so because we pay them, we do honor them, and we do a really fun end of the summer event for them, but we typically don't do anything that's super formal. They just kind of want to hang out at that point.
Great. Thank you. I know it's in the written communication, but when I was reading through it, I couldn't stop just sharing it. I know people in the audience as well as watching it, they can go and look at their letter. But I'm really impressed when that particular resident said, my daughter has enjoyed swimming lessons and she has mastered water safety because of the private lessons provided by the city. We hope this program continues again because it's a fantastic program that helps special needs kids learn water safety and how to swim in a calm, quiet, and a peaceful environment that Blackberry Farm provides. It's awesome. Hearing this one, I'm sure that many people will resonate the same kind of comments, and I really, really appreciate all the work you do. And the reason all the questions we asked, how best we can help as a commission sitting here, any of those drop-offs, how best we can creatively come and help, that's what we would like. Really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, let's move on to the item number 5 in the old business, which is subject a dog off-leash area. We call it DOLA update. I like the name. I can't call it DOLA. It sounds nice. My dog will come for a treat and then when I call. So.
Okay, thank you. I should have probably introduced myself. I'm Christine Hannell, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. I'm filling in tonight for our interim Parks and Rec Director, Randy Schwartz, who wasn't able to be here tonight. And I'm happy to introduce to my right, your left, Kim Callum, Recreation Supervisor. She just recently, we did a little bit of transfer of some programs, and the dog off-leash area is now under Kim's area of supervision. Formerly, it was Genique Overman that oversaw the program when we kicked it off October 1st. Now, the original recreation coordinator, Karen Levy, will continue to oversee the project, and she will be working in Kim Callum's division. So I just wanted to share that with you all, and without further ado, I'll let Kim go ahead and give an update on what is happening with the DOLA.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting us come talk to you about DOLA. Like Christine said, I'm just coming into this program, trying to learn the processes that they've gone through, and we want to kind of talk to you tonight and give you updates about the staff made some decision on times, and we kind of want to go through that scenario and tell you what they were thinking at the time. And so the trial did start October 1st, and it will go through July 31st. So it's a 10-month period, and it's going to go through 3 seasons. Right now, well, they did a public process, and so we have lots of proponents of DOLA, and we have folks that are maybe not as excited about it, or some people are afraid of dogs or afraid for their kids to be around something that doesn't have a fenced area. So staff took all of those comments that came in through the public process and tried to respond in a respectful way that could address everybody's concerns or needs, demands. And so what they did is they put a time from 5 to 7 from now, and then October to February. And then in February, the time would change from 6 to 8 for March through July. They did that because, you know, there's a rule that when the park opens and when it closes, and they decided really to go by an exact time frame because they wanted folks to know when it was open and available as a DOLA, and they wanted folks that didn't want to be around the DOLA the opportunity to know when it's don't come to the park during that time if you're afraid. So they took those things in consideration and thought, you know, it's not really good to keep changing the times. It's we need to market this in a way that people know and can expect exactly when the times are. Also, hours, they did it. Excuse me, there was a strong interest for hours in the morning as well as hours in the evening. The hours in the evening, it really takes care of folks that have worked. You know, they've worked all day, they want to come home, exercise their dogs. There was strong interest for a morning time as well. Keeping the hours in the evening, though, allowed us to accommodate those interested dog owners, which was the majority of what folks wanted, and those folks that maybe not get home from work until 6 o'clock. You know, not everybody gets off work at 3 o'clock and has time to go to the DOLA. So they tried to take all of those factors in consideration. They really felt that having set hours was also very important to address concerns about the DOLA. And I did get the opportunity today to read through everybody's comments. It was very interesting, and there were people that were, and I'm a dog person. I have three dachshunds, and I would not take them there because they won't mind. But I understand what people, when they're afraid, they're afraid. It may not be logical to folks that have dogs, but there's a real fear and a real a reality that people are afraid of dogs and they're afraid for their kids around dogs. So I think staff was trying to be conscious of that. Starting at 5 gives the kids a chance to use the area of the park after school without fear of encountering off-leash dogs. They also felt that the hours would decrease conflicts with field times. Those fields are under a blanket permit, and it's one of those things that we will be addressing soon, because blanket permits are a challenge. There's pros and there's cons, but we're going to be analyzing that to see how we want to deal with those fields. But right now, it may look empty, but those people that have the blanket permits can come out there anytime to use the fields. So if they have a blanket soccer permit or a baseball field permit, they can come out there, and there's pretty close proximity to the baseball field. So I think staff was trying to foresee those kind of conflicts as well. So that's kind of where they're coming from. What happened this week? We changed time. Time changed. And so it is dark out there at 5:45. I've been out there this week 3 different times. Tonight was cold. But people are taking advantage of it. And while we've had some folks not really stay within the parameters and the guidelines that were set, most people are, and I think some of these folks are out there picking up and taking care of their dogs and trying to make sure that folks are doing what they're supposed to. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Do you have anything to add? No. So that's really all I have. That's kind of what the staff thinking was when they set those hours. I know that we have some comments otherwise. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So typically, do we go for questions first and then ask for oral communications, or how it is? Okay.
Yes, we asked clarifying
Okay,
questions
so let's do
first.
the clarifying questions from the commissioners first, and then we'll open for the oral communications before we come back for the discussions. Okay, great, thank you. Go ahead for any clarification
I
questions.
don't have any clarifying questions.
Clarifying, but, so you've only been out there 3 times, so.
Well, I started on this project
Yeah,
Monday.
Yeah, so I know.
And so I was there
just-
Monday and Wednesday and tonight.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what is your observation? Are there other people out there using the park?
Well, my observation this week is I don't see a kid in sight.
Yeah, and Jenny
But that will
before?
be different in the spring.
Oh, right, because the time just
Because
changed,
baseball
yeah.
season, soccer season kick back in.
Right, okay. That's not too clarifying, but yeah, thank you.
If I can just add something to that. So prior to Kim taking over this program, Jenny Coverman and Karen were trying to get out there, a few times a week as well. We are in the process, and you will hopefully here soon in the next few days, you will see a job posting on the city website. We are looking to hire part-time employees to assist with going out there on a more regular basis. But up until now, it has been full-time employees that have been kind of sharing the task of going out there. So it's been sporadic. We have had staff out there on weekends as well as during the weeknights since October 1st. So hopefully we'll have staff on payroll here in the next few weeks.
And we do have a dog log. So when I come back, or when Jenny or Karen would come back from monitoring the trial, we go in and we go to this dog log. We talk about how many dogs are there, how many folks are there, were there any problems, were people throwing balls outside the perimeter, what issues were there? I did not see some of those issues at all this week. I didn't see kids this week, but it's dark and it's cold and kids are getting ready to go to bed and go to school. So this time of year is, very different.
Any questions? Yeah. So I have one question, which you talked about the blanket permits, and do we have I know you said that you will be changing it, or you're working on to find out how do we change whatnot. But today, for the blanket permit, whoever we are given, is that anything is overlapping with the time what we allocated to the DOLA one, like 5 to 7 or 6 to 8 from March to July, whatever this time? Is it
Well,
overlapping with?
I'm not sure how much this time. Right now, people do have a permit. I don't know who it is. Like I said, I just come into that too.
Okay.
And we'll be doing a study on, an analysis on field use.
I see, okay.
We're not looking to change anything immediately right now, but we need to do some research, do some public processes, and work through that.
Great, thank you. If there's no more, sorry.
I was just going to add to that. So as Kim said, right now, we do have blanket permits out for soccer and for Little League. So,
Okay.
I mean, we do have them, staff does have them on file. And again, what that means is we don't necessarily know from day to day if the group is going to utilize the field space. They block it out for a certain season or period of time, and then the leagues need to coordinate with their individual coaches to determine the use for the field space that they have reserved. So that's currently how we manage the field space. But like Kim said, we will be looking at that in 2020. Perhaps we may start earlier, I'm not sure right now. But that is on our city work program to review the athletic field use policy.
Great, yeah, thank you. So if there's no more questions, I think we'll go for the oral communications. I have a lot of blue cards here, and if you still wanted to talk about it, please, you can pick up one blue card and submit it. I think, let's see, I think there are like many, and I got a request earlier that I think one presentation by Samir will take like 10 minutes plus. So maybe, can I, Samir, just a question. I think there is one person by Deepa. I would like Deepa to go first because you have enough things, people who have given their time to you.
Mine might make logical sense after Samir's is done.
Oh, is it? Okay, if that is the case, perfect, no problem. So Samir, you can go ahead. The only thing is I just want to make sure that call it out. There are other residents here, Joanne, Sayuri, and John. So you all given your blue card, and you also given your time to Samir gracefully, those 3 minutes. So Samir, you have all those minutes. Together it's 12 minutes, including yours, is being allocated. You can go ahead and start. Whitney, I think you will be timing it, so thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, commissioners, for...
1 minute, sorry. I think 2 people have given their time, so roughly 9 to 10 minutes. He's still willing to speak as man this time.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead, and yeah. So.
Okay, commissioners, thank you for putting this on the agenda since the time changed last week. And thank you, staff and commissioners, for your support in the dog off-leash area. It's been great to see the staff come out to the dog off-leash area and see how things are going. And for also the commissioners, we've seen a number of you out there, and it's been nice to have you see everything that's going on. So far, our understanding is that the dog off-leash area is going well. We haven't heard of any major complaints. We did get a note from Jenny to make sure we keep the balls in the bounded area, and we are trying to do that. And as you can see, we have a group here very passionate about this topic. The mayor also stopped by. He was riding his bike, came by to see how things were going, and he seemed pleased, so that was great too. The reason we came here today to ask to speak with you is that the time changed last weekend. So that's kind of changed the dynamic for when we are, how we can utilize the park. So we did start taking pictures starting on Saturday for what the park looks like. We heard some concerns about, are there people using the park? Are there kids out there? And I wanted to give you some pictures about what the park looks like. I thought that would be better than my speaking. At 4 o'clock on Saturday, there is nobody in the back area of the park, at least as of this last Saturday. As of last Saturday, it was 6:20. The park is full of folks. I took this picture as I was leaving. About 14 to 16 dogs were out there, along with their folks. On Sunday, when daylight savings time changed, you can see that there's a lot more long shadows in the park. And at the edge of the walking path, there is a group that plays volleyball. They are there often. They come on the weekends. They normally set up just by the path. They don't like to carry their equipment too far in. They do have a dog, and they bring their dog over to the dog off-leash area. And I took a picture just past them. You can see how far the volleyball is from the back area of the park. On that same Sunday, 6 o'clock, this picture is taken with a flash, just so that you can actually see something. It's very dark. And this is midway through the 5 to 7 open park hours. So we all drove here tonight. I drove here at 6:30. It was pitch black outside. And you know how dark it can get. This is what the park looks like in Monday, this last Monday. There's, as you can see, again, no activity in the field. And we also took a picture of the play area. So there was a concern about kids being out there after school, at least as of this Monday. The popular play area at the front of the park was empty. This is what it looked like on Monday at 5:45. No flash, so difficult to see much of anything. Tuesday, same picture, 4 o'clock. And Wednesday, same picture, 4 o'clock. So 5 to 7 doesn't really work in the winter. It's too dark to see. From a timing perspective, around mid-December, sunset will be 4:50 at the earliest. That means that if we're in the park from 5 to 7, we're there at dusk to night, basically, nightfall to the night. The park does technically close 1 hour after sunset per the posted regulation. So the DOLA hours also technically conflict with the posted park signs. So these are the posted park signs. So as of today, sunset was at 5:04 p.m. And our original request was to have the dog off-leash area an hour before, an hour after sunset. I do understand that that is not a fixed time. However, the city itself is not posting a fixed time for the open hours of the park, which kind of implies that there is an expectation that people know when the park is open and when it's not open. And we hope that expectation can translate over to the dog off-leash area. I will also say from an enforcement point of view, I know that the code enforcement officers know when sunset is because we have been quoted sunset by the code enforcement officers. So I think the code enforcement officers are quite aware as well. I don't think any training is required on that front. A couple other concerns about the dark. It's difficult to see people. It's difficult to see the dogs. It's difficult to see the ball when we throw the ball out there. It's difficult to pick up their poop because we can't see where they're pooping. As I mentioned, we're out of compliance with the posted regulations, and we don't think that there's really any other activity. We've been out there not just this year, but for many years. We've seen the park at 4 o'clock. The reason we asked for this timing and that area is that there is very little activity. In the staff report, I took some of the quotes from the report and tried to address them. The clarity of timing, as I mentioned, the staff report says that it's vague. We don't really think it's vague, and we really don't want to be there too late, too much after dark, because it's not really useful for us. Our concern is that if you keep the timing as it is, that the trial will not be effective for the months when the time has changed in the winter. In terms of conflicts from youth sports, we haven't seen the Little League folks use the field all year this year. We don't think that there are many activities in the winter that would conflict at the 4 p.m. time. There's no Little League that will start up until the time changes again in the spring. Soccer teams rarely, if ever, use that side of the field, And if they do, it's usually adults playing pickup games. I cannot remember a time when I've seen a kids game at that hour. And in terms of the concern about creating confusion, honestly, I think the timing at this point creates a little confusion with the posted regulation. And in terms of the cost and the expense, I think the staff report quotes $300. If you take cash, check, or credit card, I'm ready to pull out my wallet. So, it's not a big expense. We could change the time to 4 to 6. That's closer to what we originally requested for this particular period of time. It would allow us to be out during some period of daylight. We'd have to change the time back again on March 9th when daylight savings begins again. All of these timings, 4 to 6, 5 to 7, 6 to 8, get a little complicated. We can make it simple and just keep it an hour before, an hour after sunset. That's our request, and we hope you take that seriously and appreciate your taking time to consider this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Summer. Appreciate it. I still have Deepa.
Hey, good evening, my favorite commissioners. All right, I want to start by saying how much I appreciate how civilly and gracefully the commissioners and City Council has heard our concerns and made our wish a reality. So thank you, truly thank you for that. While this might just be a 10-month trial for the city, it is a reality we live every single day. We love it. Our dogs love it. They are learning to understand that there is a boundary. They're peeing on it a lot, by the way, but for us dog owners, it's a lifeline. It's really a lifeline to go, because we make a beeline to the park to let our Pooches play and have fun and get good exercise and get tired every day. We would have to do it anyway, and to be able to do it where we are actually allowed to, it's awesome, right? Many of the dogs don't even want to go home at the end of the play. They throw tantrums like little kids, and they want to lie down on there. They go hug somebody else. It's really fun. We've also found in the past month that having a boundary and having a specified time to the DOLA has actually increased the multipurpose usage of the park due to the predictability of the events. It's predictable, there's a boundary, there are hours. So we've actually seen soccer kids coming and practicing right next to the DOLA boundary with no concern. It's like, okay, yeah, they're there, we are here, we'll do our stuff. In the past, it was very unpredictable. People came when they want, people went, dogs were there all evening long. This has made it very nicer for everybody. So definitely it has been a win-win situation. But some aspects of our wonderful reality has been jarring. So we have been raising concerns with the city workers who've been assigned to the program. We got some pushback, so here we are asking the commissioners to address this on our behalf. Some of the things I quickly want to point out, some we heard, some via emails and stuff like that. One of the things that hurt and jarred me right at the beginning of the trial was the trial might end early if we found people are not in compliance. We're kind of not in compliance now with hours, right, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So it's very conflicting to say that, hey, we can close the trial if you're not in compliance. You're forcing us to be out of compliance with the hours you've given. Because the park closes. Technically, if the sunset is 5:04 or 6:04, park's closed, and the DOLA hours are 5 to 7 p.m. The other comment I heard was the city might decide to reduce the perimeter size even further if we find it interferes with the baseball players in spring. What baseball players? Right? We found that T-ballers did not use this area at all throughout this year. We were not there most of the summer, but we would go in and out, take our dogs to walk and stuff, and we've not seen them. As far as I understand, they are not interested in using this for actually having matches here.
Thank you. I think time is up.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
Appreciate it. any further oral communication, if you have any blue sheets, if you want to fill it up, still you have time. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. I think, thanks for all your feedback, and of course that the city will take it and then we will discuss on it. Appreciate it. And any discussions we want to have it, I think, commissioners? It's an open discussion, yeah, let's.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on it, but I'd like to let the other commissioners go if they have comments.
So, yeah, maybe I'll have one comment. I think it's not just because of the oral communication. I don't want to incorporate that input immediately into it and to start discussing it, but I think the the timing is it decided based on the prior, because we said that we will look at the off-leash dog parks in near neighborhood cities and other places, and then we will make some decision. That's what I heard earlier. Is it the similar timing has been followed by other dog-leash, off-leash dog parks around our way, Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, other cities? Do we have any reference? That's why we picked up, or how are we comparing with the other places?
The other cities that we've compared to, Menlo Park, Mountain View, and Foster City, actually have morning times, and that was offered in the survey when the questions were asked.
I see.
But in our community, there was a strong desire to have it in the early evening time. As was mentioned, the group, when this idea was originally proposed, it was an hour before and an hour after dusk. But yes, the mornings did not seem to be a time that was preferred.
I see. And none of the parks what we referred from the city have ever had evening timings at all?
Are you referring in our city?
Not in our city, like
In our-
Menlo Park, all the other references you said that they do have only in the morning time, they don't have any evening time at all?
No, I believe that there are some that do have some. Do you know about that, Kim, in the other ones?
I don't know exactly, but I think that there's some that offer longer periods of time. You know, we're in a trial.
day.
And so like at Mary Avenue, while some people don't prefer that dog park, it's fenced in and it is available
Fenced.
all day. You know, so they're doing what we're doing. They're trying to serve what their community wants.
Okay.
Could I comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cooper Park in Mountain View has evening hours, I think, and Cuesta has it all day long. So I'm not sure what the afternoon hours at Cooper are, you know, once the time changes. But I was just trying to look it up. I couldn't find it. But they do have afternoon. Cooper Park, yeah.
But also probably depends on what's happening at those other parks too.
Cooper
right?
or Bub. They've got Cooper
Yeah.
and Bub.
And are they
But do-
DOLAs or are they dog parks?
They are DOLAs.
They're DOLAs.
But do they have other activities at those parks
Oh,
too,
yeah.
like
Oh,
sports and
They have kids' playgrounds and all sorts of
playgrounds?
things. Yeah.
Playgrounds, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that will be a good data as well. But I think there is other question I had, maybe a comment as well, is that when it was initially proposed and then we approved for the trial, we said that we will meet with the users, right? DOLA, especially all the users like Samir and the rest of the folks here, and then we will meet with them and then looking for adjustments where it works or doesn't work, whether the compliance is it's going off or whatever the rules and stuff. So did we have any other meetings with them? With the city had any meetings other than this kind of a formal presentation and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming today. I'm a dog owner myself, and so we value your input, and we want to do what is best for the community. But yes, in answer to your question, we did have some community outreach times that were held in August, on August 7th and August 24th. In addition to the survey. So if you recall, the group originally brought this proposal to the Parks and Rec Commission, and then after some time, and I know they were very patient and waited for a while, then they came back to the commission, and then it went to council, and it was council that requested that we do some further community outreach, and so that's what precipitated the community outreach in August, as well as the survey. So, you know, in gathering all of that information, as well as from the youth sports groups out at the Jollyman Park. That's what really assisted us in coming to the current situation that we're in and determining these hours and the various rules and such that are in place.
Yeah, so maybe that's another request also we made at the time, is that once the trial kickstarts, we want to make sure that this is not the only forum for the users to come and try to do it, but we said that, okay, it'll be good to have a direct connection with the city staff who are organizing it, to have a feedback session like once in a month or whatever the staff time permits. We thought it'll be good for them to sit together and talk about it and say, then they can jointly come to the commission and propose and say, this is what we plan to do. So that's what I was asking, is there any other meetings happened with the city staff, with the users, outside of presenting in the commission?
No, not that I'm aware of, other
Okay.
than staff that have gone out to the facility. I think one of the commitments we made is we were actually going to come back to the commission to give you updates in March, and I believe at the end of the trial period. But we thought that it might be a good idea tonight to give you an update.
Sure.
Just based on some of the feedback that we've been receiving.
Great. Based on my other experiences from the other areas of these kind of trials, I think it'll be good to have a separate way for the community members who is actively using it to be interacting with the staff on a regular basis. So that, because it's a trial, so there can be ups and downs and stuff, so that we can adjust and see, and so that it'll have a good way to do it. The trial has to be there for a success. That's what we are trying to put it together. And if that is the case, then that means we need to have more opportunity. That's my personal thing as a commissioner here sitting. It'll be good to have staff meeting with the users often to get as a forum kind of feedback and collect it and then see what it is. And you can jointly propose. That will help us. Because great, we got an update. I really appreciate it. But it'll be good to come up, okay, this is what the problem we had it, this is the risk, this is the mitigation, this is what we solved it, and this is what we want to update to you, and is there any help commission may need? That would make us much more, because that's why I think it'll have a lot of collaboration.
I think that's doable. I don't have
Yeah.
any problem doing that. I think we could do something once a month, and I can bring the dog log, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, sure, that'll be great. That will be only one my comment then. Anything else?
Yeah, so I guess I have a few comments. I think that's it, the communication is what the users were trying to do, and I think the hours were set with the best intentions and with lots of input. I think once we got to the rubber meets the road and we got to the end of daylight saving time, I mean, even before that, I know I've been at the dog park and there were some questions coming to me as a commissioner saying, gee, that's not going to work. And so I had actually sent some emails to the director during the month of October and had some preliminary conversations with him, and he said, oh yeah, we should just be able to fix that, because I think it just wasn't thought through all the way. I mean, what we have now is a situation where we've set up hours which seem to be reasonable at the time, but once you get there, you realize that it's making the trial ineffective for 4 months.
Agree.
Of the 10 months. And that's not a way to really figure out if it's working or not. There's just some conflicts that I think we didn't intend. So, I don't think anyone's trying to place any blame. I think we just want to make it so it works for the users and the city. And so that's one thing. I think the fixed hours, the reason there were fixed hours is to address the concerns of those people who don't want to be at the park at the same time. I think if we just make it a different hour, those people, if they're coming out at all, they'll see the different hours and they'll adjust as well. So I think that we can be respectful of those people, and we need to be, that want to separate themselves from the times when the dogs are there off leash. And so I guess my question tonight is, I know that we're an advisory board up here, and so I'd like to know what would be the process if we could give you a recommendation. What would happen? What's the next step? That I mean, as staff here tonight, could you make that decision tonight based on a recommendation, or where do we need to go? Obviously, we've had a lot of turnover in staff on these things, and so there's not a lot of
The
context.
context behind, yeah.
Right, and so, those of us who have been on the commission have been through it. Christine, you've seen it. So I would like to know what can we do here tonight?
Tonight, we're asking for feedback
Okay.
from the commission, as well as obviously public comment as well. And we will take that feedback and recommendations as well as the public comment. And I will be meeting with staff and discussing how we proceed. As you mentioned, we are in a bit of a transition right now. And so, and myself and Kim Callum are new to this program. And so we as well want to make sure that we have reviewed all of the past information, which we've pretty much have done, I think, up until now. But we will go back and we will be discussing this with other city administrators to determine how to proceed. So I hope I answered your question. I think what I really need from the commission tonight is a recommendation on how you would like staff to proceed.
I have comments.
Go ahead with the comment, any comments, and then we will.
Yeah, so just like Carol said, I understand staff's thinking for choosing specific hours so people can plan that have dogs or are there for other reasons. But I am concerned about the group being out of compliance, and I think that was unintended consequences. I think the thing here, like you say, is to be flexible and to make this succeed, and that's what we're here for. Just my own personal experience with children that were in sports, by that time of evening, they're not still out there practicing. They're back at home doing homework or what have you. It looks like we're just looking at maybe a few weeks or a couple months where this issue is, where it's going to be an issue. So I guess my personal feeling would be that I'd prefer to have what they initially asked for, which is an hour before or hour after sunset. But if my second recommendation would be the 4 to 6, at least until, I guess it was March, right? Is that what you were saying? So that would be my preference and my recommendation.
Do you have any? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have some comment. So in this presentation, so because summer, the daylight saving time just ended, I'm just want to see, so during weekend, because the 4 p.m. I think on weekday, and it's already cold, maybe kids won't play in the park, but I still want to see during weekend if there's any problem, because maybe we need some more report. I want to see more data or report about that.
So I think if I understand clearly, so it's 4
Yeah,
p.m. when it is
during
on the
weekend.
weekends.
Yeah,
What is
now
that?
on
Is it-
weekdays, there's
okay.
no, the park almost empty, but I
But
don't know.
on the weekends.
I think there was one
Yeah.
picture provided on Saturday at 4 o'clock
Okay.
that you can see here. There's no one there. And I think also, let's see, Saturday at 6:20, Sunday at 4 o'clock. So that the users actually did provide that there, and it does look pretty desolate. There's nobody there, but
I can't say how many times I've gone by there or Hoover Park and there's nobody in the park.
yeah.
Ever.
So
And another question is about the dog owner who, I'm not sure, 4 to 6 p.m. would people, they have enough time to get back home and walk their dog. But on the other side, as you mentioned, the morning time, because now there's the sunrise long before our work time. I just wonder if it's possible.
So your question is that whether it is
morning time.
morning time?
Just
Yeah,
wondering
if that's a
if it's
recommendation,
possible.
staff can go and analyze too,
Yeah.
but
Even
it
people
looks like
have
they
a
already
work.
did that research.
Yeah, the sunrise long before
I don't
work.
think that's what they requested.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
I know that.
I think we have an
just
immediate
wonder-
problem that we
Yeah,
want to
we're
address.
just,
So,
And there's a lot of other issues that we get into, and I think we will be looking at those as the trial goes on, and what other things could we
Yeah,
do in
s-
other parks, and I don't think we want to make this a big thing. I mean, what I
Yeah.
heard from our city manager when she came on was that there's some big things we need to do in the city, and they are things like Valco and Lehigh. And there's a lot of other little things that we just need to get done and move forward. And let's not analyze everything to death. Let's just make the best decision we can. If we need to, modify it, which I think is what we'd like to do here, and move forward instead of just taking hours and days and weeks and months and years to get little things done. I think this is in the little things category. We've already done most of the heavy lifting here. This is a detail of the project that was maybe just overlooked a little bit.
yeah,
And I think we should hopefully be able to address it very simply.
so maybe if any other comments, or you have, Helena? Okay. Sorry. you
Yeah,
have
the
one?
the
Go
only
ahead,
other
please.
thing was, I guess there was maybe a $300 expectation. You'd have to change the signs or something. I would not expect us to ask the users to pay for
To pay
that.
for it, yeah.
That is a very minor cost, and I don't think that would be appropriate.
No,
I think we should
I don't
find
think
that
that
in
the
our.
city
No,
asked.
and I have to say, I really appreciate the offer. But yes, if as a staff we decide that we need to make an adjustment, we will take care of whatever necessary expenses there are to put in new signage.
Yeah, I think, okay, thank you. Is there any other
Yeah,
comments?
so I guess, I'd like to make a motion to, we don't have to make a motion. I would like to recommend that we move the hours to 4 to 6. I think that would solve the issue most easily and in a consistent way with what was set up before.
So, sorry, before we make a motion, is that
Okay.
okay? I want to have a comment too.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so the thing is that, yeah, sorry, no, it's okay. No, yeah, so that's the recommendation, right? Yeah, so definitely I echo Commissioners, the feel on it. This is like, we are doing it for the community. And if they have, and it's a trial, and if there are challenges, we need to work with those and then try to adjust so that the trial really is yielding the result what is expected, right? And if that means, that's what I was recommending earlier, that I think these things can be even discussed with the staff directly. Of this one, it works, it doesn't work, and it is, and then they can adjust. And unless ever there is a huge issue on that one, need not be, my personal opinion is that need not be even brought here. We can be an FYI, hey, just for information, we worked with it. We have such a great relationship with the users, and the city already worked on it. Just want to let you know, this is what it is. And I think that kind of thing would help, irrespective of, it's a small issue, or it's already vetted through very heavily, and you all know better. And even the $300, I think, for the records, you put in the cost. I don't think so, but yes, Samir, I would love to. I am going to put many things like that in a separate, and I'm going to ask for you. And if you give me the check, that will be awesome, because that would be great. So I think staff is doing a great job, and I think you operated based on what the data you had at that time. And sometimes we face these issues, right? Project hits into some brick wall, and then we see what it is, and then we make a turn right or left. So I think we are in that state, but I think it'll be more efficient for directly having these frequent meetings with those users for the trial period on a monthly. Kim, I think since you said you just give for 3 weeks, you said?
Well,
3 weeks on this particular
no,
role?
4 days.
Oh my God, that's too much already. No, so
Yeah,
4 days.
I know all about this now.
Yeah.
But I think that I could go out, or Karen could go out to the park, and we could be available for comments and talk about things while the dogs are playing.
Yeah.
Or we could come into another setting as well if we need to. But I think most everybody would go out to the park and be out there and be able to chat probably. And so I'm willing to do that, and we can advertise some times that I'll be out there, or Karen will be out there, or both of us, and we can have chat.
Excellent. Yeah. So my recommendation would be like definitely considering the users, and all those things are very obvious. Look like at 5 o'clock it becomes pitch dark, and And unless otherwise I have, like the dogs we put in there and the collars with a light one, and then we need to put for people as well, and then we can all walk in like a zombie, and think it may not be looking nice. So it'll be good to have those. So my recommendation would be consider their request, and either it could be 4 to 6, or the other commissioner said it's 1 hour just after sunset. I do not know what will really work out at this point, so I don't have a specific preference, but I really emphasize the request, and we have to make that successful. So that would be my recommendation.
I would like to comment. I think the users did try to come to staff, and I don't know that their full range of concerns got a full hearing. So there were a couple emails exchanged, and I was copied on them, so that's why I'm aware of them, that came back and said, no, we're going to keep it the way it is for the rest of the trial. So I think that's why we're here today.
Okay.
And
I didn't
so I
realize
guess,
that. Okay.
I don't want anybody on staff to feel like, they've been overridden or anything. I think it's a more full hearing of what the concerns were, and just looking at what it is. So, I don't want anybody to feel that.
Yeah,
bad about that.
more than written communication, face-to-face meeting will be awesome. So I would like to see Kim more often on the park, and then I will come and see you too, Kim. So thank you. Yeah, so do you really want to make a formal motion? We're given individually recommendations. I think that's sufficient in my opinion.
The recommendations.
Yeah, individually, each
Fine.
one has given us a recommendation. I think you have enough input from us, which you can take it. And I would love to see, possibly in the next meeting itself, a quick update from, a positive update. I'm just influencing it. But yeah, a positive update from the staff on what we heard, what we did.
Yeah,
That sends a message that we are reacting to their ask quickly, right? So that would
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will try to provide that update to you as quickly as we can.
So I would hope that you can make whatever decisions and changes, if there are any, before you come back to us with an update.
Yeah.
I'm saying this because obviously time is of the essence. We're here, and the trial is marching along, and we're impacting what's going on there right now. So hopefully, so I did just want to make that comment, that the sooner the better.
Absolutely. I understand. We have a sense of urgency on this particular matter.
Yeah.
Terrific.
I would like to just address an item, though, that it is very important that the folks that are taking part in the DOLA are complying with the rules that are posted. Because it is important, as Kim mentioned, we are keeping a log. Our intent is at the end of the trial period that we will assess all of the comments that we have received, as well as our observations. So it's important that people are adhering to the rules. Not only will that factor play into the decision moving forward, but also the maintenance in the field conditions, picking up after the dogs, and then we'll also be factoring in how the DOLA worked out when we move forward with the field use. So this will also play into determining moving forward how we address the field use issue in all of our parks too. So I just wanted to point that out. And again, I have heard good comments. I think the puppies are complying with the rules, as are the owners for the most part. So I appreciate that. Thank you, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can.
Excuse me.
So just a couple other comments on the field use policy review, because that was part of City Council's recommendation, was to do the DOLA, and as part of the field use review, look at other kinds of opportunities for dogs, be it DOLAs, be it pop-up off-leash areas, be it additional fencing, whatever it is. So because you're new to this, I just wanted to make sure to give you a heads up on that there is a big piece of this. It's not just focused on Jollyman. And part of that is giving this opportunity around the city so that not everyone in the city comes over to Jollyman, because it will be overrun if that happens. I think they have seen an uptick in the volume there. And so, it is something that people around the city want to see. And we do see other off-leash situations happening in all of our parks. So we do need to look at it in all of the parks, and where are the opportunities that we could do this around the city. I also wanted to just make one other comment. Sunnyvale is also going through a similar process right now. Surprise, surprise. And I actually attended their Parks and Rec meeting last month, and so I stood up as a resident and gave them feedback as a Cupertino resident of what's happening in Cupertino and that we're doing a trial, et cetera. I was representing myself. I wondered if it would make sense if I told them I'm Parks and Rec Commissioner, if I would represent the commission in telling them what's going on there as what we're doing. That would be something that the commission would need to decide if they wanted me to do it. Or I can just continue to speak as a Cupertino resident who's also on the Parks and Rec Commission in Cupertino. So I guess I'd look for your feedback on that.
No, I think that would be valuable information for them and for us to see what they're doing. I know that Karen did a great deal of research on what was going on in other cities, and I have that available. But I think that these are all good comments. I came out and met you, some of you last night. It was fun. It was nice to meet you and put some names and faces together. So we'll work through this, and we know that we need those kind of services in other parts of the city. That's a focus in a lot of areas right now for our department.
Excellent.
So I guess I'm looking for
So,
feedback from the commission.
looking for a feedback. So
Yeah.
on you representing it as, I do not know the rules of us representing in others. Personally, I do not know. Maybe staff can help. If you represent as an individual, I don't think that I did go to other places and represent as individual, but as a commission, I'm not sure whether we have.
I guess I'm not
privilege.
really, yeah, and I'm not really sure what you're asking. You're asking, to explain it again, to represent
I think the ask
us?
is whether she can represent as a Park and Rec Commissioner of Cupertino to go and make comments and, right?
Right,
Make
exactly.
I guess I would feel comfortable with it if you were just going to tell them how ours is set up and give them factual
update.
information,
Right.
not necessarily like your personal opinion reflects all of our opinions.
Correct.
I don't know what the
Right.
fine line.
I think in
is
that
with
case,
that.
I would say if a staff could report would be awesome too, because if there isn't a staff, our staff goes and represents, they get into the agenda and talk about it and present how they implement it based on the feedback and stuff. I think that may be uniform because we all approved it and they can just relay the fact. But that would be a great opportunity. So maybe I think I would go that way, than ask if you could represent something as a commissioner, and if it comes to some other opinion, if it's some of the commissioners are not completely aligned with it, it may come back as, okay, you're representing the entire commission. So
Yeah.
that would be
So I
my
think-
personal feedback as well.
Okay. The appropriate thing, if I go and continue to attend,
As
is
an
I
individual.
need to let them know that I'm on the Cupertino Parks and Rec Commission, and anything I say, just as I would do here on some other issue, I would be representing myself as a
Absolutely.
Cupertino resident.
Correct, yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
No,
make sure you were aware. So
Thanks
they-
for asking. No, I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
important. And
They are looking at, they'll probably be, they're looking at creating a study issue group right now.
I see. And again, I think it's an awesome opportunity for collaboration. So as you said, if you're representing yourself as individual still, you can work with the staff, and our staff can go and even help them. Hey, we have done all this study, and these are the inputs. This is how we implement it. This is the feedback. Then Sunnyvale, or they don't have to even to spend so much money, even all of them, because they have already a basic data. They can jumpstart it, right? Absolutely. What you do is awesome, and maybe staff can jump in and help along with you officially.
I will say that the Parks and Rec profession, the group as a whole, is very collaborative. So I'm actually
Awesome.
surprised we haven't heard from them. Maybe Karen has, and I just don't know it. But we are always reaching out.
Okay.
We have colleagues and friends working in other cities, so we're always sharing information. I mean, that's really what this profession is about.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm
You said
just
you-
curious, so for Sunnyvale, so which park they are going to study the dog off-leash area?
They are in the very beginning stages.
Oh.
So I've been talking to some of my friends in Sunnyvale and letting them know it took our group here in Cupertino a year and a half to move this forward, to set their expectations. I mean, the same thing's happening in Sunnyvale that's happening in Cupertino. They've got many parks and dogs are off leash at various hours. I mean, the mayor's seen it, the city council people have seen it. So they're doing similar to what this group has done here. They've gone to city council meeting, they've gone to the Parks and Rec, and now it's just starting to get some traction to look at a study group, but it still needs to be prioritized, and they've got a long way to go.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kim. It's awesome. It's a great report, and we spent a lot of time, but it's good. We got energized. And one request, I'll put it for Samir. I know it's, I don't know it's official or not, but I'll put it there still. It's okay. Next time when you take photos, have with the Kim and a lot of dogs playing around her, kind of, so that I want to make sure that when you present next time, there are a lot of dogs around on that when we switch the time. Okay, that'll be great. Thank you. Appreciate it. So with the new business, the next item is item number 6, review and provide feedback on the draft ethics protocol. So I think staff, can you explain to us what the deadlines, all of them, about the draft ethics protocol and what we need to do? And I know we got something from Whitney on the return on when it is due and whatnot, but it'll be good for us to get reminded. The reason I asked that question is that we talked about this is like, can we go through all of them individually, or I want to make some decision along with the commissioners, but it'll be helpful. What are the deadlines and what is the action we need to do?
Okay, I am happy to provide that. Actually, I'm going to have Whitney. Whitney, do we know the date on this? I believe this is going to council in December. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's what we decided on. I know for the other commission, Library Commission that I'm working with, we set a deadline for their feedback to be on next Tuesday of next week. So we have enough time to get that to who it needs to go to. So.
Okay, so just to give you some feedback on this, Katie Nomura, who works in the city manager's office, is heading this up, and all city commissioners are being asked to review this City of Cupertino ethics protocol. So what we are asking is for you to go through and provide comments, edits. If there's something that you feel is missing or something perhaps that is not clear. That's the type of feedback that we are looking for. It will all be sent to Katie, who will then forward this along to the city council as requested. So it's really up to the commission right now as to how you want to handle it. If you want to provide comments and feedback as a commission, or do so individually. And if you just want a little bit more time to review it and to think about it, you can send the comments to Whitney. She'll be compiling them for this commission.
Okay,
So it's really up to you, Chair, how you want to handle this tonight.
Great. I do have my recommendation, but maybe I will just let other commissions to give your opinion, then I can talk about our way it works. If you want, I can just go ahead and what I am thinking of. So these things, I personally have gone through a similar one last year as well when they got a draft one through the other commissions. Each individual commissioners will have their own opinion. There is no way I have seen it that all of them come to a consensus on any of these things. It's really, really not possible. Each one, the perspective and the way in which they look at each one, how they read it is different. So I really highly unlikely that as a commission we'll come to a common recommendation or a feedback. That's impossible. So I would recommend that we have time. Similarly, if it is a Tuesday or whatever the time, if you could tell us exactly when you need the feedback. Individually, I request all the commissioners to read through it and provide the written feedback, either be comments or whether I agree or not agreeing, whatever it is, to Whitney, I believe, and then you will compile it and then send it to them, because it's all individual opinion. We don't have to have a consensus on it because it's the way in which we look at it. As long as we give the input to the council, finally they review it and they still come back and say that, okay, this is what we think that this is a good for, and they might force us. That's okay, but I think individually we should have the freedom individually for everyone to provide that feedback, to written feedback. That would be my recommendation, but I'll wait for other commissioners to provide any other comments.
No, I agree with that. I feel like I need more time to take a look at this, and yeah, I agree with you. I think we're not going to come to a consensus, so yeah, I absolutely agree that that's the way to go. As you were explaining it, I was thinking that is definitely the way to go.
I just have a question because I think there's already many rules about to regulate the commissioner, council member about conflict of interest and the gift and favors and related issue. I just wonder, so this new protocol, what new thing in this comparing to the law, the rule already existed?
Oh,
I
your
just
question is that
wonder,
what was that
yeah.
existing one, what's the new one, what the difference between these two?
Yeah, why we are going to pass this new protocol? That's my question.
If I understand correctly, I don't think that we ever had this kind of a written ethics protocol at all.
Oh,
No, we never had it. So this is the first time as a city, I think we are trying to put this in it to make sure that everyone understands. So that's
So-
why.
so
Actually,
in the
the
past,
city
there's only
council
state
passed
law.
one a year and a half ago, before this council came in. And then when this council came in, they rejected it.
Oh, this was passed earlier.
A completely different version was passed by the previous council. And then,
different.
and then this
version.
council came in and reversed it. And they said,
Wow.
and decided they wanted to write their own. It was my understanding of what happened.
Okay.
Okay. But before 2 years ago, there was not such law.
I don't know
Only
if
the
there was
state
one,
law.
there might have been, but the previous council created something.
Right, right.
I
I don't know
see.
if they actually
Okay.
passed it, but they definitely pulled it. It may have been, it's still in draft form, but you
I
think
think
they
they
passed
actually
it?
reversed it.
Okay, I thought
Yeah.
they
New
just
one.
pulled it and said, we're going to start all over again.
So they started all over. And
Again.
this
This
is
is a
what
new
they
But it
one.
got.
took them a
Okay.
year
Yes.
to get to this point.
Yeah.
So maybe in that case, I think the new one always supersedes the previous one. So I think maybe if you could just go through this one,
We
right?
don't have one right now.
Yeah, we don't have one. Yeah, so I think this is the only one. So I don't think that additional data would
Oh,
help
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I just remember there's a manual book of commissioner. I just read.
Oh, that's a
there's some-
commissioner's handbook,
Yeah,
which has
handbook.
its own.
the
Yeah.
handbook about some conflict of interest
Correct.
on the keep the confidential information. I just remember read some document.
Well, we're
How to
definitely,
behave
yeah,
with
there are
them,
the
yeah.
rules of the state of California and
We follow those.
municipality
Okay.
and that type of thing. But I'm assuming a code of ethics is more like a guideline, right? It's not like a law, it's a guideline.
Okay.
Would that be correct? It's
I-
not.
Yes, that is my understanding. And as you are saying, there is the Commissioner's Handbook, which relates to, how to conduct meetings, and I think procedural information. And then, of course, as mentioned on here, I mean, this also applies to staff, and even right now, I mean, staff, we do have administrative procedures and policies that we follow. But this is specifically an ethics protocol.
Okay.
That, and that was drafted specifically for ethics and how we as a city conduct ourselves, right? And keeping ourselves, maintaining integrity and honesty in front of our community. And I think that is what this puts into place, just those reminders of that, the importance of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I don't recall, I think Commissioner Stanek, I do recall, you're right, that there was some prior discussions on this. I honestly do not recall what happened with that. If it was passed or not, I do not know that. But this is the new version, or this is what's being brought to you today. There's currently not one in place to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Since we decided, do we still need to make a motion that individually we all send a written report? Or is it, do we need to do that, or what? If it's a specific date, I think we all will take it that, okay, we will send it our written feedback by that time.
Yes. So I was just looking at my calendar here. So Whitney is the 13th, which I think is next Wednesday. Does that provide enough time for you then to compile? I just want to remind folks that we do have a holiday on Monday, and then we're approaching the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. So we do want to allow for enough time for Whitney to compile and then forward it along to the city manager's office. So is the 13th, does that seem like a doable date for you?
13th for me?
That would be
Okay.
Wednesday?
It's okay, Wednesday, okay? Okay.
Yes. Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
so let's do it by
So that would be great.
Wednesday.
It can be
Yeah.
sent directly
To Whitney.
to Whitney.
Okay, and then Whitney will compile and then send it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
awesome. Good, boy. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here for like, I don't know how many hours if we start working on it. No. Yeah. So the next agenda item is the new business, item number 7, subject status of January 2020 commission meeting. This is like, what is that? Is it like, do we need to have it or not?
Okay,
or-
that is currently the way the calendar falls, is our January meeting would fall on Thursday, January 2nd. And so we just wanted to put forth to the commission how you wanted to handle that schedule. That is still a time when a lot of folks are still on holiday vacations. So you need to decide as a commission if you feel the need, or you think it's okay to cancel a January meeting, or if you feel, if you want to change the date. But it's up to you. But yeah, it's currently on January 2nd would be the January time.
So I have a question. Do we have a joint meeting with council? I know there was some discussion about that, and I didn't know if that was January or
There is a
when.
tentative one right now, planned for the 21st.
Okay,
I'm not sure yet if we're going to be prepared for that
January
or not.
21st or-
I do see it here,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
But I'm not sure at this time if we're going to be prepared with the information that we need for that meeting. So that's a tentative date.
January 2nd's fine with me, but I'll go with the majority.
I just think it would be safer to move it out a week. I mean, if the room's available to go maybe on the 9th, maybe that's a proposal. We can come back and see what's available.
Yeah.
And talk about it next month, and we don't have to decide
No,
tonight,
yeah.
right? Because especially since Nisha's not here,
Yeah, we don't
and
know
and
what
that's
they're going to-
important for a quorum.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we can
Okay.
wait till the December meeting if you would prefer.
Yeah, so I think.
Because I don't know, Whitney, did we even check to see if the 9th was even available?
No, I haven't looked at the other dates, but
Okay.
It's okay.
I
So
can do
maybe
that if
can
you'd
we
like. I can
suggest,
look
yeah,
at
if you could just check and say 9th available or not, that'll be great, so that
And
we
then we
can
can
just,
figure it
even
out.
an email we can tell, and you can just
Yeah.
email to us, we can just close it over the email individually. Yes, 9th would be okay or not, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Individual.
you're right,
We
we
can
want to
do
make
the
sure we have a
decision.
quorum.
Right,
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
okay.
And we
Okay.
can't decide that through email. We need to decide in a public forum, right?
Okay,
Anything we
That's-
decide
I'll
really
be on
needs to
vacation
be
on January
Yeah.
2nd.
during our meeting.
okay.
Reschedule.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I understand. You're talking about we need to decide
Yeah,
during a
what date
meeting
it
whether
is,
or
yeah.
not we're going to have the January
Yes,
meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it
If
is-
you're going to reschedule, I mean, that's usually the wisest thing to do. But there have been times when a meeting gets canceled
Right.
because of unforeseen
Right,
reasons
Right,
or.
no, I understand. It's just not
But
something
I
we should
think-
be sending emails about.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
no, no,
about,
no, no.
this is about, okay, once you
No.
have availability on 9th, and then next month, maybe we can bring it, put
Then
it
we
back
can
in the
review it.
agenda
Yes.
as a whole business, and then we can just decide quickly.
Right.
Yes, we are good to go or not,
Right.
right? If you have a
Yes.
quorum by that day or not. Awesome.
That's a great idea. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now move on to staff and commission reports. I think the director reports. Christine? Yeah, you have it.
I would just like to remind the commission that we have some upcoming, very important events. And so if you can mark your calendars in early December. We have on Friday, December 6th, the community tree lighting at the Quinlan Community Center. And we will have a very, very special guest there that night. The following day is Breakfast with Santa on Saturday the 7th at the Quinlan Community Center. And then, as Molly mentioned, on Saturday the 14th of December is the first time we'll be doing the Signing Santa event. And I think You should have also received in your packet and some updated information from Interim Director Randy Schwartz. I hope that you saw that information as well. And I think that is the extent of my report for today.
I did have something on the summer events update too.
But it's not on the agenda, so.
I thought it's part of the director's report. That's what I thought.
I'm sorry, you are exactly right. That was going to be part of my report.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe Whitney can help me get it ready here. Is that what it is? Yeah. Want to sit over there? Yeah. Oh. Oh my God.
Yep,
Okay. Whoops.
it came in and gone. Yep, got it.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me of that. We wanted to give you an update.
Sorry, Kristen, I think it's starting in the middle of the presentation. There are 3 slides before that. Maybe if you could go before, then you will see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, there we are. Okay. We wanted to provide some information to you about the summer events. It's already November, and unfortunately, the staff that oversees this was not able to be here tonight, so I just wanted to share this information with you. And once again, we had a very successful summer. This was a summer filled with concerts, movies, a campout that was offered for the first time at Creekside Park, Bollywood night. There was Chinese Performing Arts of America, Shakespeare in the Park, a dance party, astronomy, and so much more. There was a total of 53 summer events from June 6th through September 7th. One of the highlights this summer was Sunday in the Park. That was for children 10 and under, and we offered that on 5 Sundays during the course of the summer. They were offered at Main Street, Linda Vista Park, and Monte Vista Park, and there were approximately 480 participants. The Fitness in the Park events was open to all ages and levels. We had yoga. There were 5 class offerings. Those were on Tuesday mornings. And Zumba was offered on Wednesday evenings, and there were 5 classes offered throughout the summer. Those were offered at Portal Park and the Civic Center Plaza, and there were approximately 380 in attendance. Here's some fun photos. I love these. They're just so colorful, and you'll get an idea that people are really enjoying those fitness days. We had 9 concerts this summer at Memorial Park, Monte Vista, Linda Vista Park, Jollyman, and Portal Park. There was a variety of music, rock, R&B, Motown, pop, disco. There was a concert ensemble, a cappella, Latin jazz, and funk, and approximately 2,500 total attendees. There's some other fun photos of folks enjoying the entertainment in the park. We had 8 movies this summer. They were offered at Memorial Park, Jollyman City Center, 3 Oaks Park, and Portal Park. There was a toddler movie night at the Quinlan Community Center and a dance party and movie at Jollyman Park. There was a total of approximately 2,400 in attendance at those movie events. Here's some more fun pictures. You can get a sense of the crowd size. This is one of the real popular events. We also had Shakespeare. There were 10 nights this year offered at Memorial Park, starting at 7 p.m. The performance was As You Like It, and it was performed by San Francisco Shakespeare Company, and there were approximately 4,000 total attendees. One thing I should mention is this summer we combined the neighborhood events and the events that we traditionally did at Memorial Park. So we called this our summer events. So, and we plan to do that moving forward, in which we will promote them as all of our department events. And part of the reason for that was in the summer of 2018, there was a little bit of confusion, I think, from the community. We had done some marketing, but we did it separately. And so at times people didn't quite understand that both events were being offered through Parks and Recreation through the city of Cupertino. So this year we wanted to look at it as an entire program offering. And we'll do that moving forward. We'll promote these items as summer events. We did have some larger events that did very well. There was Clean Slate and Wizard of Oz at Creekside Park. There was the Cupertino Campout that was very popular at Creekside Park. There was a Cupertino Night Market that was done in collaboration with the Cupertino Chamber, and that was featuring the Performing Arts of America. There was Game Night at Library Field. The Cupertino Night Market, I should mention, was very successful. There was an estimate of about 10,000 people in attendance. It was a very, very large event. And that somewhat skewed our attendance numbers. Our attendance numbers probably went up approximately 1,000 over from 2018. But this event is really, it had a lot. And I know the Chamber is looking into some other options as to, for a site that might be able to accommodate that size of a group a little more easily. But if it is moved, we would like to continue to take part. So it likely will remain as a summer event that we are co-sponsoring. Some of the larger events were the Astronomy Night at Linda Vista Park, Hawaiian Luau and Lilo and Stitch movie, chess event and Searching for Bobby Fischer movie, Bollywood and Three Idiots movie, which was in Hindi with English subtitles, and that was approximately 13,800 total attendees. Here's some other fun, colorful pictures of the community enjoying these events. Here's some photos of the game night on the left. And I think the ones on the right, I know that's a Chinese performing arts group. I'm not sure which event that was from, but I know that's their group. Here's Bollywood. A lot of smiling faces in those photos. You gotta love that. And that concludes my slideshow. Do you have any questions or comments about the summer events?
No, I think maybe my comment is that I've been there a couple of things what you showed. It's fantastic, and I would love to hear. I know this is a summary report, and similarly, what went really good and what didn't go well, and is there any way overall as a summer event? I know some other things like in the camp out, I learned few things, and we said, okay, we are going to do these things next time. So it will be good to have staff come back and say, overall, for all these events, either more staff needed or more time or something, would be a good way to see that. Okay, how best a commission can help. And even if you have to recommend something to the council, either it could be funding, it could be additional staffing at that time, temporary staffing, whatnot, would be an awesome one. Because that will be an ask. Like any project, we finish it. So this is a great event. So much people worked on it, and then it's an awesome output. But it'll be great to see some asks coming back from staff saying that, okay, these are the lessons we learned, and these are the things we would like a commission to support or the council to support, then I would love to hear and say how best we can. Because I see many times it's like they are running out of people because it's completely overshadowed by the attendant, the people, so it'll be good to hear that one.
Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate that. We did do evaluations. I think this year, I want to say we had approximately 16,000 in attendance. Unfortunately, I must confess, I left my notes on my desk. The survey responses were about 160. For the most part, they were very good. We got a lot of great feedback. People really enjoy the various programs throughout the different parks and throughout the city. There are some, I think, some slight tweaks we'll be making to the scheduling. I think the schedule this year was very aggressive. It's very challenging at times for staff to be working, a 9-hour day, 3 days in a row, or even 12-hour days in some cases, depending on the size of the event. So as you heard earlier, staffing continues to be an issue, not just in aquatics, but some of our other programs as well. So it's something that we are looking at. But I think that's something that staff just has to figure out and look through. But we plan to continue with many of the same offerings, and the cultural events are very popular and very well received. People really enjoy those. So the staff is also looking at some, trying to just look at scheduling a little bit, just so we kind of spread it out a little bit more.
Okay.
This year, if you recall, we started after the 4th of July. I think after we went through this year, staff learned that maybe it's better to kind of spread it out, starting a little earlier, so then we don't have so many events on top of each other. So that's just a little bit of the feedback that we received from the community, and then from staff that weighed in as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
I just want to say they're fabulous events, and I think maybe like what you did with the night market, that was incredibly successful. I didn't have an opportunity to go, but I did. Well, we tried to. We drove by and we couldn't find a parking space.
Yeah.
So we said, okay,
So
we'll
it
just
was
skip
like a
this, but-
gridlock on that day.
But partnering with other groups in the city, so obviously that might be another way to go, and it sounds like that was a very successful model. Also, I just want to say they're really wonderful, and they foster a sense of community. You go to any one of these events and you see your neighbors and your friends, and I think it's really a highlight of what our city has to offer our citizens. So thank you for all of it.
I have some questions. So to compare to the summer events last year, I remember this year we have some new program like the Camp Out Night, and like the Chamber hosted the night market. And so we just purely add some new program, or we just cancel some old program and add the new events in. I mean, just compared to last year. Yeah.
If I recall, I don't think we offered quite the same number as the year before. I mean, I think it was like 1 or 2 less. It wasn't very much of a difference. But as we do with all of our programming, we just always try to mix it up a little bit. We try to take the feedback from the community on what worked really well, what people really liked, and then try to throw in something new as well, because I think people appreciate having some new, musical groups perform. They like to see new entertainment, different movies. So we certainly don't want to repeat the same movies or always have the same performers out there. But then again, there are some that people just love, and they're easy to work with, and they want to come back, we want to have them back. So there will always be a combination of repeating what is successful and then trying new things, because we always want to expand and grow and see what, just something new that we can offer. It makes it fun for the community, and staff enjoys trying new things as well.
Yeah, thank you, and we are looking forward for more exciting events next year.
And I think they're already starting to plan, if you can believe
Wow.
it.
Yeah. Thank you. I think you should definitely pass on our sincere thanks and appreciation to all the staff there. Every time I've never seen those, especially Park and Rec staff coming there and jumping in joy until the last minute. I've seen them. I learn every time from them and say, how do I get inspired by their motivation to do that? Sometimes it seems to be a repeated task, but when I see them in action, they simply put their heart and soul into it. Please pass on our thanks and sincere thanks to you. Thank you. Commissioner reports. Do you have any?
Okay, I can start. I attended the commissioner dinner, which was very nice. Nice thank you for commissioners. As I mentioned, the Pooch Plunge, which was very successful. the Sunnyvale Parks and Rec meeting, and I also attended the council meeting this week, where there was a discussion about the Carmen Avenue Bridge going over Stevens Creek that will be a good opportunity for connectivity and safe route to school. So they were just accepting the feasibility study on that. There was a very big community turnout in support of that. So I think that surprised the council. It was just part of their consent calendar, and so they ended up pulling it, and they had 25 cards on this that was just accepting the feasibility study. And there were probably at least 10 to 12 students from Stevens Creek and Kennedy Middle School who came and spoke in favor of this particular item. So, it's great to see the kids coming out and getting involved, and I think we're going to have some budding politicians.
And I was watching, those students, really cute, some encouraged to speak in public. And I saw you, great speech.
Speaking of trails, since I missed last month's meeting, I did attend the Regnart Creek City Council meeting, and that went until 4:30 in the morning. And when we went to our sister city in Italy, Stephen Sharf couldn't get over repeating that, saying to the Italians, our city council meetings go until 4:30 in the morning. But anyway, I think this commission here recommended that they go ahead with that, and so that's ultimately what council did. And then I also went to the commissioners' dinner, and thank you for that. We really do appreciate being acknowledged for our service, and we always enjoy that. And then I did stop by the on-demand shuttle launch, which was kind of interesting. And I have seen those vans now at least 3 or 4 times driving around town. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I have only one thing to report. I don't know whether it falls into the park and rec. If not, I can just take it off. This is like one of the persons or the citizens asked me about to check the flea market. Not the flea market, I think flea market, right? Or the farmer's market. Sorry, farmer's market on Sunday afternoon. And on the parking issues, kind of. Is it that falls into our park and rec? It's not, it's a city, right?
The other one is right? The other one is Parks and Rec?
Yes, so we have an agreement with the group that's at Creekside on Fridays.
Okay, that's only
The other
Creekside falls
group
into ours,
is,
not the other one in the
no.
opposite to Deanza, Oak Center one.
Right.
It doesn't fall.
They're at the
Okay.
Oaks, yes.
Yeah, I just went there just to report. If there's no action, it's okay. But when I went there, really, literally in front of my eyes, I saw accident happening on it. Because people said it is going to be crazy. I said, okay, let me go and sit, just watch. Within 5 minutes, accident just in front of those quickly. 1-2 people were just backing off with everybody honking, and then they didn't see each other. They just banged on it because it is so crowded you cannot get in and get out. It's really, really highly unsafe activity at that time. So many cars, and people are trying to reserve. I think one section is completely reserved for the jewelry thing, whatever the shop, Shane company kind of thing. They reserved it, blocked it all, so they only very limited. And people were going around, kids running around, completely unsafe. If it falls into still city limit, we need to really do something, because that's how I just went there to witness it. And within 5 minutes, I saw the accident. I said, okay, I don't need any more proof for it. So it was really, really.
Also, bicyclists go through there because they're going over the Mary Avenue Bridge, and it's very dangerous.
Highly.
You have to be very, very careful biking through there, too, at that time.
Yeah, and I did attend the commissioner's dinner. Thank you again. It was awesome, and thanks for making us to jump and go on it. You said, let's go on to jump, and I tried to do it. I don't think that I jumped as such as it is, but I think it's a good celebration, and I think putting it all. So thank you for the staff to put through all of those, and it's amazing. Thank you so much. If nothing else,
I have one question. We have a meeting on November 18th, is that correct? Just wanted to bring it up at 4. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we did awesome, and so it's at 9:10. The meeting adjourns at 9:10 now.